everybody, how's it going? And welcome to Daily's 2A News. Have you guys ever seen the movie Minority Report? Did you watch that movie and go, geez, I couldn't imagine if that actually happened here? Well, today I want to talk about something that is very similar to that. It is honestly one of the most concerning bills that I have ever seen go through Congress, and that is H.R. 838, otherwise known as the TAPS Act. Okay, so the TAPS Act, it's really all in the name, isn't it? The Threat Assessment, Prevention, and Safety Act. This is a bill that has 138 co-sponsors, both Democrat and Republican. People like Ted Lieu from California and Republican Dan Crenshaw. These are people that are supporting this bill. And you know that if you have people on the far left that are supporting a bill like this, and you have Republicans supporting a bill like this, it's got to be something that everybody looks at because it has broad support. So essentially, the TAPS Act would create a task force that would have its fingers in just about everything. So the federal government, the municipalities, state government, local agencies would all be tied into this task force, and they would be creating a profile on individuals to try and identify people that are dangerous before they ever do anything. So again, what they're trying to do here is they're trying to profile the public. And this is not a joke, it's not a conspiracy. You can go ahead and read this for yourself. But essentially what this task force does is it creates a profile of types of individuals that they might want to look deeper into based off of their specific criteria. This would also create a panel or a committee in Congress that is based up of certain professionals like healthcare professionals, mental health professionals, and so forth, that would then evaluate that information. And I'm not exactly sure what they would then do with that information. But again, what they want to do is they want to access pretty much all forms of government and agencies across this country and try and get a profile on its citizens. Now, if you're wondering why we're talking about this on a Second Amendment channel, if you haven't figured it out already, it's usually people in the Second Amendment community that get targeted by things like this first. And that's because we disagree with a lot of what the government's doing, especially when it comes to our Second Amendment rights, our First Amendment rights. You know, whenever the government goes after one of our constitutionally protected rights, we tend to speak up about it. And we stand up and we say that, no, you're not going to do this. And we do our best to try and shut down whatever bill may be going through the House or the Senate. That's just what we do. We're usually pretty good advocates. And so when you speak out against something, how does that fit into their profile? If you say you don't like a certain Second Amendment bill, and maybe you have a social media page that is focused a lot around the Second Amendment, and so you're speaking out against particular bills, maybe somebody who is sponsoring or co-sponsoring the bill, maybe you disagree with a bill that the president signed, and so you speak out about that. How does that work into their threat assessment profile? And who are they going to report that information to? That's kind of where this all ties in. I think that anytime that you profile people, anytime that you look at a threat assessment, the Second Amendment community is guaranteed to be one of the communities that's on the top of that list. Now, I've read through this bill multiple times, and one of the things that bothers me outside of the fact that it encroaches on our civil liberties and our right to privacy, but at the same time, it creates another government bureaucracy, which means that we're going to have people who are non-elected officials out there doing things that they should not be doing. So think about it this way, okay? You have several bureaucracies that are out there right now. Look at the ATF. The ATF is not supposed to be making law. They're not supposed to be changing law. They're not supposed to be interpreting law in a way that we create new laws. So if the ATF looks at something and reclassifies something that now makes somebody a felon based on another law, this is a bureaucracy and an agency that shouldn't be doing what it's doing. And this new task force that would be created by H.R. 838 would essentially do the same thing. So you have people who are unelected officials, only accountable to the elected officials, not accountable to the people like they should be, out there doing these things that are, again, violating our constitutional rights. And so it's more than a Second Amendment issue this time. It is pretty much an entire Bill of Rights issue. Again, this is one of the worst bills that I've seen, and it really does demand our attention. And since it has so many co-sponsors, you know, like I said, around 138, both Democrat and Republican, then it's our responsibility to let these people know that we don't support something like this, and we wouldn't support something like this in the future. And you know what? Something like this has to go through the House, then it has to go through the Senate, then it has to go up to the president's desk. So you might as well email the president, message the president, whatever you can do, and let him and his staff know that as the people who are supposed to be represented by government and part of government, we do not support the TAPS Act, H.R. 838. This should not even exist. It should not be in the House right now. As a matter of fact, at this particular time, it is in committee and it shouldn't leave committee. So we have to make sure that we stop this as soon as possible. Firearms Policy Coalition is on top of it. So make sure, again, you go in the description box, you become a member, and you donate when you can, because they're fighting pretty much everything across the country right now and they need our help. So I want to thank you guys very much for watching. This is a video that kind of gets under my skin. So anyway, if you haven't so far, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment. Have a great day.